a cheeky little thing. From the moment he was born, he set off creating mischief wherever he went. Even Zeus couldn't be helped but be amused by Hermes' ability to play innocent and act like he didn't know anything, even though it was obvious that he was the troublemaker. Hello and welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jada. In this series, we're diving into the archetypes of Greek mythology as a tool of self-discovery. So if you haven't watched the introduction video, I'm going to put it up above and down below. It will give you a better understanding on what this series is about. I'm also going to link the playlist down below in the description box so you can watch the other gods as well. One of the more famous myths, and also one that really showcases the archetypal energy of Hermes, is that of his birth, or basically what happened right after he was born. He set off and stole Apollo's kettles. And it wasn't out of being mean or trying to harm Apollo, but basically because he was bored and he needed something to do. So he went along, stole the kettles, and he put shoes onto the kettles but backwards. So the kettles were walking in this direction, but the shoes were pointing in this direction. So it looked like they were walking this way even though they were walking this way. Basically as a distraction and to mislead Apollo so he wouldn't get caught. However, eventually he got caught and Apollo was furious and brought him in front of Zeus to be judged and brought to justice for his behavior. However, Hermes acted like he didn't know nothing, like he was just a newborn, he wouldn't be able to come up with such a clever idea, and basically played innocent. And it was actually obvious to everyone that he was the culprit, and Zeus was really amused by it. And his ability to really talk his way out of it, but in a very charming way, actually led to a lesser sentence. And he demanded that Hermes and Apollo would make peace. As a peace offering, Hermes offered the lyre that he had invented to Apollo. This myth alone already tells us a lot about the energy that Hermes represents. On one side, he stands for creative problem solving and adaptability and the ability to think outside the box. So the moment he was caught, he was trying to talk his way out of it, and the moment that he realized that it wasn't working, he jumped onto the next solution, basically offering the lyre to Apollo. The myth also shows how questionable his morals were, in the sense that he had no scruple in lying for his own benefits, so his moral sense wasn't too strong developed. It's also showcased by the fact that he was just born and already created all this mischief. So I want you to think of him as a child, as a mischievous child, and not as maybe a gangster who, knows what's right and wrong and just decides to go against it and be morally wrong. It's more like whatever energy, without even necessarily thinking on negative impacts that his actions can have. So on the other side, it also shows the ability to find common ground once you did something wrong. So once he realized that, first of all, he wasn't getting away with it, nobody was believing him that it wasn't him, he was like, all right. And he was the one offering the lyre to Apollo. So it wasn't suggested by Zeus, it wasn't demanded by Apollo, but it was actually Hermes' idea to gift him that. Eventually he became the messenger of the gods, which is probably what he's best known for. And one of the reasons was to actually keep him busy so he wouldn't go on and create even more mischief. Due to his role as the messenger of the gods, he was also the only one who was able to freely move between the three worlds, meaning Mount Olympus, the mortal world, and the underworld. One way we could also look at the fact that Hermes was able to move between the worlds freely is actually in terms of our consciousness. The underworld will be our subconscious mind, the mortal world will be our conscious mind, and Mount Olympus would represent our higher self. So balanced Hermes stands for flexibility and adaptability, the ability to find solutions in any situations and quickly think outside the box and adjust the approach where needed. He is also the one keeping us youthful, so I want you to think of Hermes as a childlike energy. So it's not about being childish, but that mischievous, childlike energy. So when you see grown-ups who act like a little child in sense of having fun, that's like a Hermes kind of energy. In a balanced way, he also represents our social skills, our ability to talk with people from all walks of life and being able to find common ground with those people. An overactive Hermes shows himself as a trickster, bending rules a little too much or manipulating situations just to get our own way. It's also about being a little bit too immoral, where we don't care about negative consequences for other people, we only care about our own gain. He can also lead to overthinking, where we can't just stop our mind from constantly thinking, which then can lead to nervousness or restlessness to the point where we are able to do anything because we are kind of paralyzed in our own minds. This is probably also the one that we might experience the most socially, that we're constantly thinking and we don't have the ability to stop that part of ourselves because it's totally out of control. Just like Hermes, if he's not directed, he gets out of control. It's the same with the energy inside of us. If we are not able to control our mind, it just runs wild and it doesn't stop until we learn to take control over that part again. And I think there also lies one of the biggest problems, because I just said that taking control over that part again, but I think the problem lies that we never started to take control of that part to begin with. So just imagine how Hermes went wild right after he was born. So it's the same with our minds. It's about being able to stop our mind right when it starts and not when we are already in the middle of it, because it's going to be much harder. A suppressed Hermes, on the other side, is an antisocial person, an extreme introvert to an unhealthy point where we don't interact with other people whatsoever. He also shows himself as avoidance, like think of our rigidness, where Hermes is a lot about flexibility. If he's too strongly suppressed, it would show himself in rigidness. Anything that will basically demand from us to be flexible, to try out something new. And of course, being inflexible. Think about being too rigid. When you refuse any new approach, any change that might come in whatsoever. So when someone comes and is like, I think we should try it like this, it will be way more efficient, and you just refuse out of, oh, we've always done it like that, that's the rigidness in having Hermes a little too suppressed. But also when it comes to prejudice and understanding another person's perspective. So what to do when Hermes is overactive? First of all, ask yourself, where are you bending the rules a little too much? When you're telling those little white lies just to make your life easier, regardless if it hurts the other person or not. White lies can definitely be a debatable topic. I think I would never do it if I don't have like an actual reason to do it, like just for convenience sake. I don't think it's fair to the other party to just lie to them. But again, it's about your personal moral. And I think with Hermes, it's really important to not forget the other party. So if you know that for someone, even a white lie will be very painful for them once they figured it out, I would just be honest with them. However, if there are like other situations where that little white lie really doesn't have an impact on anyone, it's okay. It's everybody's own decision on how far they want to push it. But just really take a closer look on your morals behind on what you do. Is it really just for your own convenience? And are you maybe even lying to yourself in justifying some moral questionable things that you do just to, not having to face the fact that it might have not been okay? So great energy to counteract that unmoral aspect of Hermes would actually be Athena, who was very just and fair and often thought about other people and what was the right thing to do. And of course, meditation will be like the go-to solution to counteract an overactive Hermes in terms of our mind. However, not everybody can really resonate with the meditation and might have tried it a lot of times and it doesn't really work. So meditation is just a suggestion. It's not you have to master meditation in order to get a hold on your overactive mind or an overactive Hermes. It's just about understanding Hermes is out of control. How do I get to direct him in an effective and purposeful way? Like, what task can I give him so he gets focused and, guided or directed? Just like Hermes became the messenger of the gods to keep him in check. What is something that you can give your mind? One thing obviously is meditation, but I think there are other things that you can do as well. For example, it could be drawing, it could be journaling, it could be going for a walk, taking a bath, whatever helps you focus your mind. When Hermes is suppressed, you obviously want to get his energy going a little bit. So while he was very fast in moving, we are talking about overcoming some sense of stagnation. In terms of like flexibility and adaptability, his ability to think quick and adjust quickly. Things like escape room, it's not necessarily about logic, it's about creative solution finding, like how do I get to the next step, where could the solution lie? So I think escape rooms are actually a great way to enhance or strengthen the Hermes energy of adaptability and thinking outside the box. Another great way, especially if you're having a hard time to find common ground with someone else, if it's like people that are from a different culture, for example, actively seek those people out. Start to understand them, approach them and ask them questions. Why do you do it like this in your culture? What's the meaning behind this? And it's about being very judgmental free. So you just ask, you just inquire with a sense of curiosity. You could do this in another way as well, where you actively go into an argument with someone else. So if you know about a topic, like politics would be one of those, even though I'm not a big fan of it, but at a topic where there's like no right or wrong answer, you can just discuss until the end of this, because there is not the one answer to it. So if you have listened to this video and you thought of someone and thought, oh my god, that person got a lot of Hermes energy in terms of how they think, seek those people out and start having conversations with them, since Hermes is all about the mind, or primarily a lot about the mind and our thinking. It's about engaging with those people and learn from those people. How do they think? What did you learn from those people? Like, it's about having that conversation and understanding what makes them different from you in the way they think. Another thing that you can do just with yourself to keep it simple is start doing things different. Think of a problem that you might have and just come up with solutions. It's not, you don't have to commit to those solutions, but just come up with other possibilities. Write them down, discuss it with another person again if you want. But this is something that you can also do really well on your own. Come up with creative solutions, even at work. If you have been doing a routine over and over again, just a simple question, is there a way on how I could do this more effective? And of course, when it comes to Hermes, keep it fun. So as we said in the beginning, he has a very childlike energy. So how can you do things with a little more fun, with a little more mischievousness? How can you do your work, even if it's a more serious work, like for example accounting, where there's not too much creativity? How can you bring a little fun into it? Maybe it can just be about a little bantering that you are having with your colleagues on the side. So it doesn't even have to do with the actual work, but maybe with something that is around the work that you are doing. This is basically it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out the other videos of the gods as well. The playlist is down below. Especially you might enjoy Athena. Otherwise, this is it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.